You got the situation going on with the
What's going
crypto
on, big
crash.
guy?
I'm chilling, baby. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just let me head outside real quick.
That's good. Oh, by
Better
the way, we're
spot.
live. We're live already. Just letting you know.
Are we?
I told you.
Nice.
I told you. Oh, nice. That's a cliche, by the way. Anyway, we gotta talk about three things real quick: the crypto crash, and how that relates to the port strike, which you want to talk about, and also the Iran-Israel situation. So, talk to me. What was on your mind that they want to talk to me about? What was it specifically? Talk to me about it. Hmm.
You always talk to me about the XRP ETFs. And, I'm seeing a lot of smoke there, obviously, right?
What do you mean by smoke?
Um, well, you have these XRP ETFs coming online now with what's the new one? Bitstamp, is it? Or
Bitwise and Canary Capital.
Wise? Yeah. So I think that, I don't think that's going to affect the price overall, but,
What do you mean by it's not going to affect the price? You mean that the
uh, you
ETF
know,
applications will not affect the price, or do you mean specifically that you think that the SEC?
I mean, no, I think the ETFs won't affect the price because we've seen it before. Um, I think that the SEC, when you look at what they did not appeal the ruling, they appealed the fine. So the ruling's still in place. The fine, they're appealing for a larger fine. So
By
I
the
do
ruling,
think that that's
just to clarify, by the ruling, you mean that XRP is still not a security specifically, right?
yes,
So they're
XRP is
assuming.
still not a security. They're not. Yeah, sorry. They're not going to move it. They're not trying to take that back. They're not trying to change the ruling. And they waited to the end of the appeal period to do it, which tells me they were probably waiting for something. So just a conspiratorial mind that I have. Sorry, I can't use my words.
All right, that's
In me
fine.
just thinks that they waited to the end to for some reason, but I'm not. I think that that's good for XRP. But my feeling on XRP, I've always felt like XRP, when it's gonna finally go, it's gonna just shoot to the moon, because you're just gonna one day you're gonna come out and there's just gonna be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? And there's just so much use. You're gonna find out it's being used everywhere, and now the price is through the roof because institutions need to buy it. So I'm one of that type. I'm that type of believer in XRP. I don't think it's a traditional sort of spike, like other market like currencies and stocks and stuff have. So or
Okay,
cryptocurrencies and
that's
stocks
fine.
have. So
But so that's fine. But I'm talking about like okay. So let's talk about October briefly before we go into the topic, which is what you want to talk about, which is the port strike. So cryptocurrency in general, it's not down per se, but it's not Octobering like people think it's going to October. Which I personally say that October doesn't mean it's going to all go up like crazy October 1st to October 31st. I believe that it's personally like, hey, maybe sometime in mid October it'll surprise out of nowhere. Maybe between the 8th and the 11th traditionally, and then it'll go higher from there. But before we go into this main topic, what do you think about like October and everybody freaking out because of Iran and Israel and everything else?
I think that you're in the peak election season, obviously, and you're gonna see some weird stuff. This year, especially more than others, because the candidates, the situation, just everything going on. You're obviously going to get an October surprise. Now, what that is, that's why they
Is
call it a
it is it is,
surprise.
is it going to be that Kamala Harris is black? I'm gonna fuck with you.
Uh,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry about
um, that would
it.
that honestly that would be a surprise, because right now I think didn't Judge
Sorry.
Joe Brown say that actually her less than 5% African heritage is null and void, because her great grandmother actually wasn't of African descent. She was an Indian house hand. So I guess her dad considers himself white and Indian, not
So there's
even black.
mistresses involved in there, and
So she,
maybe you're Italian, so
yeah.
maybe you're more black than she is. But go ahead, continue. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to say no.
That's a good point. I might be more. She's got better tan, but yeah, maybe. Um, I I think that crypto seems to thrive in in unstable times. So I just think with stability aspect of it, you might see it going up because it's a stable place for people to put money. Everybody's talking about a black swan event. Obviously, that would wreck the market.
I mean,
Hence
did we
why
already have a Black Swan event? Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, Iran attacking Israel is a, I don't know, a Black Swan event. I'm just saying, but maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead. What your opinion?
no, no, no. I've heard various things. I've heard everything from it could be worse than 9/11 to to
Are you
whatever.
talking
So
about the sleeper cells that, our border's been open for the past 4 years? So is that what you're talking to? Talking about rather,
no,
or
I
and
don't
by the way,
know. I
feel
don't
free,
know.
feel free to talk on here. You can say whatever you want.
So,
So go ahead.
all right. So you're thinking about what it could be. So let's talk about that. What could a Trump? I just saw something, and I haven't been able to verify it yet, but that the FBI said that they were Iranian, two of them, but they were actually FBI teams. I don't know. So you got that. There's talk that after the election, they're going to stop giving money to all the illegals who have come through the border. That's not mentioning anything about the Haitians, right? Because they
Yo,
actually
by the
came in
way,
illegally.
keep that train of thought. I just want to say that FEMA confirmed today that all the money that they were supposed to like have for hurricane season, they gave to the illegals, so they don't have any money anymore. Which is thank
Seven
you to
hundred and
Elon
fifty
Musk.
billion or whatever. Yeah,
All right,
or
continue,
seven hundred
continue.
fifty million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a train wreck. So there's talk that they're gonna cut off the like $2,000 a month immigrants, so or the illegal immigrants or whatever, and that's gonna cause them to riot. So apparently what happened, how they got here, is that these other nations said, "We'll let you out of prison as long as you never come back. You leave and you never come
Really?
back." So basically, yeah, basically they will let you out of our prison. That's why said that you're sending us your prisoners, and the Salvadorian president Bukele was like, "No, we're not." But yeah, they were. Like he pushed
Bukele,
back pretty
what?
hard.
Bukele too? He was doing it too,
Yeah, apparently,
allegedly, or like we know for sure.
apparently, because they're Salvadorian gangs. But I think it's mostly Venezuelan. But there is some
Damn.
Salvadorians apparently. That's what Trump said, and you can love him or hate him, but hindsight with him is normally pretty darn good. He's pretty on point with that. Um, so I think that you'll see some sort of activation of that as like some sort of sleeper after the election, and that's going to cause civil war. I think the
Yeah.
Democrats are. I think the Democrats right now are like we're probably going to lose this election. Looking at polling, and looking at the storm response. I'm old enough to remember George W. Bush flying over Katrina damage, looking out the window, and the picture of him looking out the window in Air Force One went
It was the most
viral,
horrible thing ever. It was the most
and
horrible thing ever. Yeah.
until Kamala looked out the window, or Joe Biden looked out the window on Air Force One at all the damage here and didn't snap a picture, right?
Listen, all I gotta say to this is all seems a little bit weird because first off, Kamala Harris basically said that if Trump gets into office, the economy will crash in 6 months. I don't know what they're doing, but it looks like we're cutting interest rates and inflating the heck out of the money, and on top of that, you have the situation with these sleeper cells, which people have told me in DC to stay out of New York City and other major cities. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm not sure.
It's really sad the state of affairs, like, and a lot of people willfully don't want to hear it, and it's it's really sad, but at this point, I think this point in time, you really can't wake people up. You just kind of say either you're going to get it or not, and when you find out, you're going to find out the hard way, and it's going to really hurt, and you're going to
We
be
want
asking a lot of questions.
good thing our families are
But
outside of New York City.
but
In Dallas, you're pretty outside
but
of,
I
you're in the suburbs, so you're good.
uh, but I do I had heard earlier today some guy I follow said about they're thinking maybe like civil war after the election because they can't do it before the election, but maybe they could. They probably could because then they could delay the election and delay having Trump win. So I don't know. It's an interesting thought. We'll see. That's not really connected to the crypto market too much. Um,
It might be
but
because they're saying
we'll
that
see.
gold and crypto, and well, gold and specifically Bitcoin are the places to have your money in, right? Because Bitcoin actually has held strong, and I mean gold is stronger, but like
did
Bitcoin
you
hasn't been really
did
been
you
volatile in the past few days.
yeah, did you see the news about Tether?
No,
Coinbase is going to delist Tether soon.
Tether is the one on Tron, or which one is that one? I forgot.
No, USDT.
Oh, that's the one with the people that were at the Bitcoin
Yeah.
conference. That's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
That's way too complicated and high
So,
tech.
well, it's a different
But
story for a different day, but if you think Bitcoin's a good store of wealth and they're going to delist Tether, I would just be cautious about that. Not
okay,
financial advice, but Tether and
nothing we say is
Bitcoin
financial
have
advice.
are tied to each other. Yes. Bitcoin and Tether are tied to each other. There's a lot of talk that if something happens with Tether, Bitcoin could be next. So, take it for what it's worth. My personal opinion, I like XRP. So
I
I
know you're an
I don't
XRP
really care too
maxi.
much. I don't care too much about Bitcoin, honestly. Great. I mean, good enough store of wealth, right? Like it's played the game so far, but you can't. It's just not XRP. I don't know how
So
else to put it.
when I first got into the crypto market, actually, in 2018, 2019, I went to a seminar in Harlem, and a professor from NYU of blockchain and cryptocurrency, he said, "Listen, just like Yahoo was the first email app, right? Google took over. MySpace, you had Facebook. Like, we're not going to have Bitcoin 10 years from now. We'll see how that plays out. However, you want to talk to me today about specifically the port strike, which, by the way, I thought about making a video yesterday in Providence while I was there. They're making one in North Carolina and comparing, contrasting. But I went to Bojangles instead in Rhode Island. Well, sorry, in New York, Rhode Island. I've been all over the place. Rhode Island, I went to Newport, and we went to some bar, and then here I went to Bojangles. But anyway, instead of making videos, but
Mike going to Bojangles.
yeah, I don't
I
even
love
like.
it.
I'm a vegetarian for the most part, but I got to do it once in a while. Specifically, what is it they want to talk to me about with regards to the situation with the port strike?
So the port strike is interesting, right? Because Taggart, who's the union leader, has been very tough. I don't know if you guys are watching this or have seen some of the headlines and stuff or what he said, but he basically said like to the people of the United States, "I will ruin you." Basically, it. And they're asking for a 77% raise over, I think, the next 6 years, right? So that comes to like 12% a year, something. A lot of money, a lot more money than
So
like
if
truck
they get
drivers get, for
that, can
example.
we
So,
get can we get that? Can we get that
well,
with YouTube as well? I'm kidding. No, go ahead. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
well, the biggest thing is so his complaint is that they don't want any automation in the ports, right? The problem is that he said that they've already broken their last contract because now they're checking in or their crates and stuff on ships. So cars will come in the port already checked in. So that's a source of that's jobs for them. Okay. The problem is that everywhere else ports are relatively automated. You still have people there on joysticks and stuff, but like technology comes at you fast. So he's gonna lose. The thing is, he's basically a mob.
Really?
Yeah, he's basically a mob boss. Like you have to understand that it's organized labor.
He sounds
This,
like that. Actually, that sounds like a video
well,
that
he
could be for the
does. He
'70s mafia
does.
movie from Rhode
He
Island, especially.
does.
So
Well, but you listen to him and he sounds just like it. He was indicted or something, I think a decade ago, and they found the main witness in the trunk of a car. So yeah, you can
whoa.
imagine. Yeah,
Allegedly, are we good or like for
I
sure
I
or
heard I heard that was I heard that was the case, and I've heard some other things. I hate saying exacts because sometimes information is you could find it from two sources, but you don't know what's sourced from where anymore.
what's
But
real
you
anymore? Yeah.
right, but you look at the way that he talks, you know that obviously he's got some ties to the Genovese family, so like there's something going on there. So I think that it's safe to say this guy's probably not a good guy. All right, fair enough.
We don't know. Well, go
We
ahead.
don't what we don't know, but you're probably pretty skeptical about it. So my
Well, if you say
argument
that's
though.
true, that's
Well, hold
not
on,
just
hold on, hold on, hold on.
yeah.
How much contraband comes through those ports? Why don't they want it automated? Why is his biggest deal actually automation? He knows it's eventually going to be automated and he's getting old and he's going to be out. I think that this rate that he wants is a final payout. I think that's what he's looking for. I think he knows that he's come hell or high water. He's the ones doing whatever they can. So the less
Listen,
automation
Jay,
possible, right? So
I got
so
to throw
my
something at you,
question,
brother, because you threw that at me. I got to throw something at you real quick. Okay, so you
uh-huh.
know I'm on X like all the time, and we talked to Del Cryptex, and he actually said that other union workers are protesting because they're tired. Allegedly, this is what he said of transferring truckloads of. They don't know what it is, but there's kids, underage kids. It sounds like underage kids screaming inside the trucks.
I didn't want to bring that up. I did not want to bring that up,
No,
but
I mean, might as well.
I've
You
heard
already
it
brought
too.
somebody's in the trunk anyway, and somebody's dead. So, but
Well,
let's just throw it all out there. Uh,
if that's the case, then that's a whole nother story. All right, and that is next level. I got a whole level of theories for that kind of stuff that it's just not fit for
Maybe they're
this right
protesting
now.
because Diddy's in prison. I didn't mean to say that. I was joking, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Um, but let's just look at it from a blockchain perspective, right? So everything's automated. So imagine every one of those boxes that they have that goes on a truck. They put a QR code on or a number or whatever. They're looking at it via drones. They're able to scan it. They run it through X-rays. They can do analysis to see if what's in there is what's listed on the manifest, right? Then you have groups of people that go check on those crates. Why don't you want that automation? And I'm not saying it's kids. I'm not saying it's kids, but
Hey,
the port.
you say
Hold
whatever
on,
you
the
want to say.
port. Okay, New York City, right? What do they sell on the corner of New York City? What do they sell on Canal Street in the back
By the way,
rooms?
we're not Jay and World or whatever you want to call me. We are not suicidal, but go ahead. We're not suicidal.
Yeah,
Making that very
I love
clear.
my
We're not
life.
going to kill ourselves.
I love my life.
He has a
I
good life. Trust me. I've been in
long
Texas. I've
life.
seen his house. A very good life.
Want to have a
He's
long
very
life.
healthy.
Love
He
it.
also eats very healthy. So if you hear anything about heart attack or blood pressure, he's a very healthy man. And I'm partial
Yeah,
vegetarian. But go ahead.
yeah. I'm missing something that a lot of the population has, so we're good. Um, but the whole point is that ports are havens for contraband. They're haven for things being snuck in. Where do people that own the labor? Who's the one sneaking them into the ports? Right. So this guy's getting backroom payments, backdoor payments on stuff coming into the port that probably shouldn't be there, and they're paying people off. I am willing to bet they're moving stuff behind the scenes, whether or not that's fake Louis Vuitton handbags, whether or not it's real Chanel handbags, right, coming from China,
Yeah.
or it could be something else. But they're moving something behind the scenes. So this is where automation becomes a problem because now you have blockchain technology. So what does blockchain do? All those manifests, boom. You create your own coin. You work it on a current or on whatever ledger,
On
whatever you
Solana or
can.
Sui or
I mean, pick
Bitcoin,
one, right? Pick
Ethereum.
Filecoin, whatever. I mean, they're files. Like you break it down. The whole point is that blockchain technology inside of that port would be the one thing that I think really could stop all that all the contraband coming through.
It can also stop elections from being stolen, but that's a different.
It can also do that. Why don't you want that?
There's a balance in blockchain.
Why don't you want exactly? Why don't you want blockchain technology in elections? If you want to find out who the good guys and who the bad guys are, ask yourself who wants more sunlight in, right? Who wants that? And
Yeah,
then who doesn't? And then there you go. You can never go wrong with siding with the people who want uh just more sunlight, more people to be able to see what's going on. Um, open, if you want the curtain opened up to see who the wizard is, you're probably not the bad guy, right? Safe to
yeah.
say.
I want to see why. I want to see who
So
killed Kennedy, and I want to see why my food is so horrible for me. I want to see stuff like that. But let's hope we get there
I
because
think you'll see it all. I think you'll see it
I
all.
mean, hopefully, you never
I
know
think.
because
Well, I think he's going to win. And here's a bigger thing. Going back to the ports and the blockchain, I think you're going to find that blockchain technology obviously is going to be used everywhere. But
yeah,
in blockchain is really going to revolutionize global trade, and that is one of the biggest benefits. And I think once again, that's where XRP is, right? XRP moves money, so you can. I mean, I don't know all the exact applications you would use, or possibly, but like you can develop coin. I mean, there's tokens able to handle this stuff with manifests and you put it on your own ledger. You know what I mean? Like there's options out there. You can create like, I don't know, call it the Trident ledger, right? Or a Trident system for
The JCW
the C
ledger.
thing. Whatever, right?
Or
Whatever you want to
yeah.
call it. But like, and all you're doing is looking at global shipping manifests. And you have every global shipping manifest on the blockchain.
I
That's it.
basically explain to people that all blockchain is an accounting system that is unhackable and very, very
Exactly.
inexpensive and very fast. People think it's this
Well,
complicated thing, but it's really not.
it's not complicated. It's unhackable because it's open to all, because it's open source. Everybody can, I mean, well, not necessarily all of them, but it's open source and it's unhackable because it's a building block and you can't, it's Jenga. You can't take a block out from under it, right? Or the whole thing's going to fall. And if the whole thing's fall, it's been hacked, right? So you're done. See what I
Yeah,
mean?
basically,
So
definitely. And
like
there's even better
you're
systems in blockchain. But because Bitcoin is such an old technology now. It's the MySpace of our era. There's better, more secure, faster, and more inexpensive blockchains now too.
Yeah, so my point here in all this is that I think that blockchain, this is a great example of an opportunity where increased automation is going to benefit the blockchain space because you're going to utilize blockchain for stuff like international commerce, which you already talked about. But people don't think about it when they hear about this stock worker strike. The longshoreman strike.
I tell
They
people
think
all the
other
time
things
about
about
Walmart.
automation,
You know the
and you're like,
Walmart
don't.
example? The Walmart example. Remember that? Just quickly,
No,
like we
what's the
know
Walmart?
Walmart, you can like basically if you go to Walmart and you get a piece of beef that makes you sick, you can go with the receipt to Walmart. Before blockchain technology, it would take them months to figure out where it came from. Because of they can scan
And
the
that's
QR code
great.
on the receipt, and in seconds they can find out where it's from. Like basically, you're saying is track and trace. But go ahead, track and trace. Okay, but besides that, you're talking about track and trace. It's a very simple way of explaining it. You
Tracking,
can
yeah,
track everything,
yeah,
international
track and
commerce.
trace. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll track it to the plant. I agree with it, and it's a great technology, obviously. So that's where I think that you see a lot of opportunity, and that's going to come in. The issue is that there's so much graft in this world. There's so much behind the scenes. There's so much theft. I mean, just people make so much money off of contraband and sneaking things in, and just that until you get over that, you're not there's no benefit overall for blockchain technology
I
in
agree.
the ports. And so you need somebody like Trump who
Well,
actually
for the
wants
people
to
that are
get rid
using
of that.
for people that are using the blockchain technology, that would use the blockchain technology, there's no benefit for them in specifically, right?
Well, think about it though. You have manifests on the blockchain. So now you're looking at, like, let's say they're in Filecoin, or well, not Filecoin. Just pick whatever. Just
I just say
Trident coin,
blockchain. So I mean,
right?
they're not complicated
So
for
somewhere
people.
on
Just say
blockchain. All
blockchain.
right.
Yeah.
Somewhere on blockchain. And you're like, all right, so here's a manifest on the blockchain. Here's a manifest list. You can make it larger to see it. And then you're looking at it and you're like, what is in this container? The container's not the right weight or whatever. Or where did this container go? Or, you have QR codes on the top of the containers and drones can scan them, like inside the port. I'm just spitballing
Definitely.
all those you're not going to have missing containers. You can look and you can say, what is in here? What was in this manifest? Where is it now? I'm looking at X-ray technology. Why does it look like there's children in there?
All right. That was pretty intense.
You brought it up, but you see what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you're just like,
Moving on.
you see where I'm coming from with that though? You're
Yeah.
just like, that does not look like wheat.
Right.
That looks
Yeah.
like a ton of bricks. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Or that looks like watches. Or,
And
let's
and
see
and
what's
in
in
the
there.
world, when a world where we obviously we know now that all this messed up, these let me just we're gonna swear in here. All this fucked up shit is happening. Blockchain is the enemy of the elite. We know they're doing things with, just saying, allegedly doing things with children, drugs, baby oil, and it doesn't
You
benefit
went
them.
there.
It doesn't benefit them, and
It
that's
doesn't.
the reality of the thing.
It's the sunlight, right? So the problem with blockchain is that blockchain is effectively sunlight for everything. You can't sneak around the way that they could before. There's not the, under the table dealings in the same manner. That's why when they talk about a central bank digital currency,
Yes. Yeah, no, and I agree 100% with you. But I gotta ask though, because I mean, I know you want to talk more about this, but I want to ask briefly because I know you have to go like in maybe 5 or 6 minutes, so you have stuff to do. Thursday in Texas, in Dallas, amazing place. I gotta go back there soon. But anyway, specifically, I want to talk about Israel and Iran. From your perspective, what the f is going on over there right now?
get into a World War III type scenario, and that's going to be the black. Um,
Oh, there's a
I
black
think
swan. Good segue.
I think that that's kind of. I think I could see that. There's a whole host of different things. They've been going at it now for years. Is it ratcheted up? Yeah. Um, let I I remember it's a game, right? Trump likes to talk about how Iran called him and said that we're gonna lob missiles at a U.S. base in Iraq, but we're gonna miss. Please don't shoot back. We just got to show our people that we're gonna do something, right? And that was a great example of peace through strength. That's it. And like, okay, cool, sounds good. We'll just report that they all missed because they did. And so that really makes you think how much of this is kabuki theater. Like, how much of this is just like for show?
Is it though? Because my understanding is that we had the Abraham Accords back then, and again, it was just for show. But this time, they actually like the missiles. Some of them penetrated the Iron Dome and
Who
killed
was the
people.
Abraham Accord with? Who was the Abraham Accord with? It wasn't with
Trump, Jared
Iran.
Kushner. It wasn't. I thought it was
Yeah.
with all the
So,
countries in the Middle East.
no, it was like the Gulf Coast or the GCC, like UAE, Saudi Arabia. I think Jordan was in there. Kuwait, Qatar, maybe not Kuwait, Qatar. With those countries,
It makes sense because Persian.
which
A
is
lot of people don't know.
interesting
A lot
because
of people don't know this, but like Iran, they're not Arabic. They're Persian. They speak a different language. They have a different kind of Muslim of Islam rather. A lot of people think it's the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not. Iran doesn't get
so
along with its neighbors either.
So the various sects
Arabic
of
neighbors.
Islam, the different sects of Islam hate each other in a lot of scenarios as much as they hate the Jews. To be honest,
Like Saddam
as much as they
Hussein did
hate
not get along
Israel.
with Iran. Like he hated Iran and he hated terrorism as well, as much as the U.S. did, if not more, because he was right in the neighborhood
Yeah.
where it could happen to him.
Well, yeah. Saddam hated it because Iran was trying to leverage that against him. But so the Saudis have actually, to my knowledge, they've somewhat backed Israel now for a while since the Abraham Accords, but they've been pretty quiet. And most of these countries have been pretty quiet, even with the Palestinians.
Because their kind of Islam, I don't know, maybe you know more better than I do. I'm just gonna ask, but their kind of like the is it correct to say that the Persian kind of Islam is more like, hey, we want to die for our for what we believe in versus like
No, no.
UAE or Saudi Arabia was kind of like, okay, we're a little bit more reformist. We care more about the money aspect of things.
So, all right, I'm gonna kind of say it like this, and I'm not an expert, but I could probably
Never
shed
mind,
some
I'm just
light.
asking.
Well, you could probably shed some light, or I could probably shed some light for a lot of viewers. So, you know how early on in Christianity, the Catholic Church and the Greek Orthodox Church split because the
Yeah,
Greeks thought there was one pope, and the Catholics looked at the pope in Rome. So that's kind of the quick and dirty. There were other things, but it was papal legitimacy. So Sunni and Shia Muslims have slightly different teachings. You think Islam is like Catholicism, but Islam's more like Christianity. It's kind of like an overarching for a lot of different like like views of the belief of Allah is God and Muhammad is his prophet. So, but there's the different sects are very different. Almost like Protestantism is to
Catholicism or
Catholicism and Greek
yeah,
Orthodox, right?
Pentecostalism. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah,
very
yeah,
different.
yeah. They're very different. Like, look in Syria, right? Al Assad is what's called an Alawite, which is almost like a weird mix of Christianity and Islam, but it's considered Islamic for some reason.
which is the same, by the way, which is the same for all Islamic religions, correct? The same Quran.
Or like they're just parables for things and they're not actual events. The Quran, there's a large portion of the Quran that literally doesn't make sense. Like Islamic scholars, I think they said
Yeah.
20, I think they
Oh.
said 20-25% literally just doesn't make sense. And Islamic scholars have they use it as much. But the Quran gives these teachings and they kind of say like teachings will be polar opposites of each other, right? Completely contradictory. And they will decide which teaching is more important based on various factors. And these various factors sometimes are what suits them in that moment. So the
Yeah.
idea like jihad, right? Where this is where people say, or some individuals will say, well, jihad isn't like an actual literal war. And then other people will say, well, it actually is. And he's saying go kill all the infidels. And like there's so they interpret so much, and that's very different from the Bible where the interpretation's pretty straightforward compared to the Quran. Like I read
But
something a while ago where
in all fairness, though, just to be fair to our Muslim brothers, there is one Quran, and the difference is that there's one Quran that they all supposedly copy it from that still exists, the original Quran, whereas the Bible has many different versions.
right, the Bible's just the same idea though. It all started at the Catholic Bible, and then it kind of all derived from there. It all came from the same place. I mean, you could call it the Orthodox Catholic Bible, but it all started that way. So, but anyway, same idea though. There's
By the way, you're starting to cut off a little bit, so you might want to repeat what you had. Like, by the way, Jason, you're cutting off a little bit, so you might want to repeat what you said the past 20 seconds.
ways, right, and everything. So I have my various views about it. I don't think that it's correct because the idea on a personal level, I don't believe God is here for carnal pleasures. So saying that you're going to offer 70 virgins to me is like that's a pleasure of
Carnal
this world,
pleasure.
right? But like God is not like God God created this earth, but like God is not God of this world, right? Because you live in a constant state of sin, right? With Satan and everything going on. I don't want to make this a religious, live, but so I don't agree with that, and I think that that's kind of weird to me. So I would agree. I don't think it's necessarily a violent religion in that aspect. Um,
I don't think it is either. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and everybody that
yeah.
I've met, but not specifically from Sudan, and even people from the Persian culture in Iran. They've been lovely people. They were always telling me about how Islam is about
Oh
peace,
yeah, they're
and they
fantastic.
don't represent. Yeah, they're
But
lovely
I
people. They're very generous.
But it does bring up a point though that religions that aren't quite as straightforward, that require interpretation, also are rife for interpretations that could be negative.
By bad actors. Kind of even like cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency is not bad in itself.
Hmm.
The Silk Road wasn't bad in itself. Ross Ulbricht.
Let's say everybody
But
had,
it's a
yeah,
bit,
you're
yeah,
right.
it's just an
Yeah,
interpretation.
yeah. So what do I think's going on over there? Something's going on. I don't know where we're at with all that. I'm one of those people. I look at it and I just say, oh, this happened. Put it in the back. You know, put it in the back of my head. You're just thinking, you're like, all right. So then when things come along, you're like, oh, that makes sense how that occurred. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to sit here and
Yep.
figure out what's going to happen, although I can tell you something will happen. There will be a black swan, I'm sure, or some sort of major event. Is it going to come from there? I don't know. I mean, look at all these storms. We have other hurricanes forming, coming
Definitely.
in. So literally, there's another one coming in. I just read the name before we went live. So,
And the
like,
U.S. federal government just filed a patent for a machine that creates hurricanes. By the way, I don't know if you saw that next. I was like,
just
holy shit!
fire. Oh, they filed it in like the 60s. Dude,
Well, they
this
filed
this
it
shit's been
again.
going on a
Crazy
while.
man.
I mean, you
Yeah,
could take.
but
Hey, by the way, they can change the direction of a hurricane with dry ice. Don't say I told you so, but I told you so.
hey, there's something that I want to really run by you. I'm going to be very direct
Mhm.
about this. So I listened to a YouTuber, and he said that he doesn't believe that Iran's trying to kill Trump. He believes that, we'll say like this: the people that wear small hats on their head are framing Iran because they want World War III. They want basically America. Trump, if Trump, gets off, then America's going to go to war, or we're going to start a civil war in the U.S. That's a conspiracy theory. So again, just to be very brief again, the small hat people are framing Iran to basically instigate a civil war in the U.S.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the small hats have done a lot of stuff in their neck of the woods too, to frame pictures of things that go on. Let's put it that way, right? They're very
Yeah,
good at framing pictures,
they're
and
great
they're
intelligence officers.
photographers. Yeah. Honestly, it's probably our own government, but then our government's kind of the tiny hats too. So,
They run
is there
everything.
is it why they call them black hats?
Listen, all I gotta say is that
Ah,
I love all people. I have Jewish friends, Muslim
you
friends.
said the wrong word. That's not what we're
No, I
talking
said
about.
small hats, but I love everybody. I just want to make sure that people understand that I love everybody. I'm the least racist person ever. I'm just wanting to say that that's something that I'm considering could be could be happening, and I think people should be aware of that.
Whenever,
Like just like
whenever,
Peterson says,
whenever
have a
you
wait and
have a
see attitude.
government, yeah, whenever you have a government, right, that, especially government of people that feel that they've been persecuted against for so long, you're naturally going to try to get yourself in a scenario where you're safe, right? So even let's say that they have the
Survival.
best, yeah, survival. Let's say that they have zero nefarious like reasons for any of this. So their own survival is not a nefarious reason, okay? And that's fair. That's fair because everybody is on their own. Look, if somebody breaks into my house at 2 a.m. and I shoot him, people say you did such a wrong thing. You shot a guy, and I'm like, he literally broke into my house and tried to kill me. He had a gun too.
Well, luckily
You
you're
know,
in Texas where that's okay. That's legal. If you do
but
that in
you
New York,
right,
hey, when I had to get a gun, and well, you should have ran away.
but
But
you
go
see
ahead.
where I'm. Do you understand
Yeah,
where I'm coming from with it?
I get what you're
That's the
saying.
point.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
now you talk about wanting to dominate the world and now like rule over other countries. And even that, you're just like, well, everybody kind of has a right to exert what they feel is their rightful dominance. And, if a king wants a land and a king would march his army over and take a land, right? Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. But is it right to lie to citizens about what's going on in the world so that you can look good like a savior? That's where I say is that's nefarious, right? So like if let's say the FBI is behind it and they're framing them, that's nefarious. Of course the
yeah.
FBI in the, I mean, well, trying to assassinate a presidential candidate is pretty nefarious too, but in terms of tiny hats,
Well,
yeah, it's
allegedly.
whatever.
Well, I don't even know if we
Allegedly.
could say it. We said what we said. Well, we said what we said, but go ahead.
We said what we said. But I don't know, somebody's trying to kill Trump, right? And who wants him dead? People that he's going to screw over. Iran is one of them, sure. But can Iran really do that right now? I don't know. Would
They
the
have the
Venez-
money.
would, well,
Biden sent them the money.
yeah. Would the Venezuelans want him dead?
Would they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
And
don't think the
obviously Russia
Venezuelans
doesn't
want
want
him
him
dead.
dead. But like
I don't think
Putin's
Russia
supposed
wants him dead.
like, by the way, so Putin wants Kamala Harris. He endorsed her. So I want to say this, and he actually wants.
Yeah.
I believe that he really likes her. He's not doing it to help Trump. Like he likes to be able to go into and do anything he wants, and he can't do that with Trump. Just want to throw it out there
Well, he
because
does.
he definitely doesn't want him dead. Just wanted to throw it out there.
I think Putin likes them both for different reasons. I'm going to say that. I think Putin, I don't think Putin likes Kamala because she's a liability. And He
But she
doesn't
won't do
know.
anything. He can stay in Ukraine with
Well,
her.
that's my
Trump will come
point.
in and solve everything.
Well, that's my point though, Mike, is that he can do whatever he wants with her because she's a bumbling idiot, and they're not going to do anything to stop him. But he also doesn't gain anything because they're going to keep the world in some sort of constant chaos, right? And so that prevents him from really creating what he wants, and that's a more stable Russia. Okay, so they're going to try to fight him on those things, but she's an idiot overall. So
Yes, she
does he
is.
like her in that aspect? Sure. I also think he said that because he does want to throw a wrench in things and make people like laugh and like think twice and all that jazz. Like he's not trying to like be straightforward about stuff. Now, does he like Trump? I think he likes Trump because I think he
Yes.
and
At a
Trump
personal
get
level, I believe he
along
does like
at a
Trump.
personal
Yes.
level. But I think he also knows that this guy wants the same thing for his country that I want for my country. And
Yes.
and he knows that Trump is willing to say, "All right, this is good for you. This is good for me. This is a good deal. Like, let's just take it. Let's be peaceful. We can both grow and prosper." That is ultimately what Putin wants.
Yes.
And so I think that does he like them both in different ways? But I think ultimately, does he like Trump more? I think he wants the peace and stability. He's getting old and he's not going to be
Yeah.
around forever. So he wants to leave Russia a more stable place. They have a history of instability. Um, so yeah, I, I
And
I don't think
yeah,
Russia
I
wants
agree
him
with
dead.
you.
Let's put it that way. I mean, you look who
And
wants him dead. Democrats want him dead, obviously. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. I mean,
and
they
some
basically,
Republicans in the party.
well, some Republicans do, but I think a lot of them could deal with him. Um, the Uniparty's pretty much out, or the
They're getting weeded out for the most part. However, I think that there's still a little bit of they're dying off too. But I know you have to go soon. But I just
yeah.
want to make some points really quickly so we can finish this off. We love
Hmm.
cryptocurrency. So Putin has basically made it legal for businesses and the central government of Russia, I believe, to transact with other countries like China, for example, BRICS nations, using cryptocurrency. And I believe as of November 1st rather, crypto mining will be legal, fully legal in Russia. And as you
Illegal or
know,
legal?
fully legal. It'll be fully legal. Crypto mining up until now, up until November 1st, it's illegal to mine cryptocurrency in Russia. So Russia's going in big for cryptocurrency. Trump said that if he gets into office, this will be the crypto capital of the world. So in the perfect world, when you have the world into the two of the major countries in the multipolar world, right? Russia and the US embracing cryptocurrency, you're gonna have a bull run to live, the bull run to end all bull runs, in my opinion. So I want to get your opinion on that in the last 2 minutes before we get off. And you go to
All right.
Thursdays.
So you have two different tracks the world can take if Trump wins. You have the track of everything kind of stays on its own and we slow walk the future. Then you have the track of holy crap, basically a meteor hits and we are kicked into the future like now. Right? Aliens come down, they have you have full disclosure, all that jazz. So the question becomes at what point is crypto not even used outside of use cases?
Well, I'm just gonna say this: Bank of America was down yesterday for the most part. Bitcoin
Yeah.
wasn't.
So, okay, yeah. But that's my point. It's that you could talk about being the crypto capital all you want, but capital of what crypto?
That are
You could say
fast
maybe like
and
a
non-centralized
Filecoin.
because I love my Solana, but Solana, even Edward
Yeah.
Snowden said that is centralized as F. They can shut that down real quick.
Well, decentralized in use case too. So, you're gonna get stuff like Filecoin. I love using Filecoin as an example. For those that don't know, Filecoin basically breaks up a file into a million pieces, sends them to all these different users, so that the storage is incredibly safe. But the idea here is that it's a token that's used for something, like it is a use case, and so something like that is so like that's usable no matter what's going on, really, in my opinion. So you'll see that, like your Bitcoin, I could see a world where Bitcoin doesn't exist. So
Yeah, it's not going to be
very
a
easily.
100 years from now. It's not going to be the main. cryptocurrency. We
My
already know that.
my
I
personal
think,
opinion,
yeah,
my personal opinion, not financial advice. I give 5 years.
a lot of people would agree with you. That seems about right with the timeline, consistent with the timeline of Yahoo and Gmail. Anyway, with that being said,
So
anything you want to say? Anything else you want to say, or you want to just get off with your night and then go enjoy Texas,
no,
right
um,
into the sunset?
riding into the sunset on my horse. Um, no, everybody, it's been real, Mike. We should do this more often. Uh, yeah, just some random thoughts on a Thursday night about what's going on in the world. Election season, baby. Get excited. All the crazy stuff's going
Definitely.
on. Maybe we'll give some
And with
election
that
predictions
said,
next week.
definitely. Maybe we'll go live. But with that said,
Yeah.
I want to say to everybody, upwards and onwards. Thanks for joining.
See you
Thank you,
guys.
Well.